All right, this is going to be an introduction to Project 1 so that you have some concept of how to do the assignment and what's going to be expected of you. So I'm starting off in Blackboard first, though, because I want to show you a couple things that are really important, that I feel are very important before you continue forward. So first of all, if you go into the weekly schedule, which is where I am now, and you scroll up, I want you first to look in week 1. Even though the first week we're not going to be starting with Project 1, I want to make sure that you've done some things first. So it's really important that you go through all of the materials in week 1 before you attempt to start the project. It's very, very important. So obviously you've got class introduction or class orientation stuff, but then it's really very important that you go through the introduction lectures for the PHP process, the client-server process. Setting up PHP MySQL on your own personal computer is important. If you don't have a computer or you're using one in the library, then you will be working directly off of the server. But most of you probably are going to want to set stuff up on your own computer. It makes life a lot easier during the course. So that means that you need to watch all of this stuff. Even if you're working in the library, it's still really important that you watch like the web directories section and intro to the PHP error environment, error reporting, and also that you go through the local and remote web directory stuff. Okay, and then don't forget we have technical help discussions that are in weekly spans. So the first 1 to 2 weeks are going to use the same technical help discussion board, and you're also going to be receiving a grade for your discussion points. So this is not optional, this is required. I want to make that really clear. All right, so I'm going to jump into week 2, and that's kind of where the project gets introduced. And what you're going to see is that we're going to have these topical research discussions. So the first one is responsive web design. The next one is going to be about server-side scripting. And then the last one will be about content management systems. These are not just going to be discussions. Once you write your article and you do all of your research, you're going to take what you write and it's actually going to go into your first project's website. The website, when I get to that, it's going to be comprised of, a landing page and at least 3 pages, one each for your topical discussion. Okay, so it's really important that you do these not just to get your grade for the actual topical discussion, but it's actually the required content for your project. So you might as well be doing this stuff on time so that you don't get behind. Also, in week 2, we have the starting of phase 1. I try to put everything in each week so that you know what you're responsible for, where you should be during that week, and what you should be starting or completing. So this is going to tell you that you get a basic outline. It tells you by week 3 that you're going to have certain requirements. It's worth 30% of your project, etc. And then this is a link to the project outline. If you click it, it's going to open a new page and it goes to my instructor website where the project outline is. And it's got all of the objectives, the overview, the requirements, the phases and everything. I'm going to look at that in just a second. I want to jump back here though. And then it actually also has a link here in Blackboard that is specific to phase 1 because that's where you're going to be starting. And so like when we get to phase 2 and we're starting on that, I'll have a link to that section. It goes straight to a certain place on the website. So like phase 1 starts there. Okay, but still I want you to read the overview and everything else. Okay, if you scroll down, it also gives you a starting set of files in this little Project1 zip. So as you're watching the tutorial, which is right here, creating a mobile first design template for your PHP project, these are your starting files so that you can, just get going and you start walking through it. And then this is also the demo, okay? This link goes to the demo, as so does the link that actually says demo. Now, that's something you should be starting on. That's going to be something that is just HTML and CSS to get started. And so that's going to be the design phase. And I'll show you that when we look at this website here with the project outline. And it's the design phase that comes first. So while you're doing the design phase, you are also going to be responsible All right, for doing all of your exercises, these are not graded, but I will tell you this, if you do not do them, you're not going to be able to do your assignment that is for, 30% of your grade. And the other thing too is although I do not literally grade each and every one of them, phase two basically makes sure that you are keeping up with your PHP exercises, because I evaluate your participation by whether or not you've uploaded these things to the server. Okay, and then again, there's a link to technical help, and then I have this week's relevant readings from the textbook. That is recommended, but it is strongly recommended. It is a way for you to have a separate reference. And then a lot of students will ask me, once they start getting into these kinds of exercises, they, because they're such beginner exercises, they get a little bit confused and frustrated, and they're like, why do I even have to do this PHP? This is so rudimentary. Why can't I just do this in HTML? It would be just as easy. Well, this video is going to explain why you have to start at the beginning, and and why PHP is ultimately amazingly useful. Not just PHP and MySQL, but any kind of scripting language coupled with a database. Okay, so that being said, let's take a look, and then it goes through like this, week 3, week 4, and so on. Let's take a look at the actual project page.